Iron Supporting Food Banks collects food and cash donations for needy families in Newham Borough and beyond. Please consider making a donation via their Just Giving page, the link for which you will find in the description section of this stream. Come on, you Irons!
West Ham are massive, everywhere we go. West Ham are massive, everywhere we go. Everywhere we go. West Ham are massive, everywhere we go. West Ham are massive, everywhere we go. Everywhere we go.
Hello, welcome to the West Ham Massive. Thanks for joining us. If you're new around here, please don't forget to hit subscribe and click the bell notification. And whether you're new or old to the channel, please don't forget to click a thumbs up on this stream. It helps to grow the channel, takes a couple of seconds of your time, doesn't cost a copper coin. There's no downside to this. Absolutely brilliant. So anyway, what isn't brilliant at the minute is obviously the world of West Ham United. I mean, we've played a City team that is in the worst form that they've been in for donkey's years, probably since they were a third-tier club. Probably a lot of the modern fans won't even realise that once upon a time, Manchester City operated in the third tier of English football. I remember, though. But they've been in really, really poor form. And, okay, they got a result against Leicester the other week. But you just knew that even if Leicester managed to take something off from last week, you knew that they were going to. I mean, we are the gift that keeps on giving. You know, your manager's taking chunks out of himself because of the stress. Don't worry. You've got a Norwegian centre forward that looks like Thor and moves like the Flash, but he can't hit a cow's ass with a banjo. Don't worry. You've got a Brazilian left winger that's struggling to find his feet in the English Premier League. Not a problem. You've got an English international playmaker that all of a sudden has gone right off the boil. Don't worry. Help is on its way in the form of West Ham United. It's fine. It'll all be taken care of. Oh, dear. And you know the really galling thing is that I actually think if I just move the scoreline to one side for a minute, if I just park the scoreline 4-1, it's utterly compelling. It's utterly convincing. Here we go again. Another same old. But if I put that to one side, we had our opportunity. I mean, I've got the stats just in front of me, and I'm sure you guys have got them. I normally do a presentation. I seriously couldn't be asked today. Sorry. Really do apologise, but I just didn't have it in me today to put the time and effort into doing it because it would have probably just depressed me. But we had 17 shots during the course of the 90 minutes, excuse me. Only four of them, though, were on target, and one of them resulted, obviously, in a goal. Probably paints a bit of a picture. Whereas City, they managed to have 10 shots, 7 of which were on target, and 4 of them resulted in goals. Take out of that what you will, right? But we actually had 2 opportunities at 0-0. We had a chance that Kudus had playing in his favoured right-hand side position. Let's not forget that, ladies and gentlemen. You can't use the excuse that he wasn't being played in his preferred position, but all he wants to do is take it on himself, get the glory for himself. Fulkrug was in a much, much better position. Much better position. He actually, I will say this, Fulkrug, for all the stick he's been getting, and I've been part of that, I actually think he had quite a good game yesterday. He was scorer of our only goal. He linked up play well. He actually was involved in that move that I'm talking about in minute 7, I think it was, when Kudus had a shot and Fulkrug was free. I can imagine that he was getting a little bit of a talking to from Fulkrug once that opportunity was spawned. And then we had another one 2 minutes later with Thomas Souček, but he dragged his shot wide of Stefan Ortega's upright. And then within about, 60 seconds of that, we're 1-0 down. Really poor goal, you know. And I'm just looking at here. I've actually got it on the old Sky Sports Premier League here. I'm just sort of like looking at it as I'm sort of talking to you guys. It's I look at it and I think it's a really poor goal optically. Now, when I saw it in real time, I thought my initial thought was Areola had been done at his near stick again. Probably need to just sort of like retract a little bit of that, but you know, it was a bit harsh on him. But Savinio had a go at Kufal. He gets a cross in. Tadebo heads the ball away. You know, good bit of defending. You know, he's done his job, no problem at all. But here's where it's a bit disappointing. The ball drops down, and Edson Alvarez, for me, pussies out of a header with Haaland right there. I mean, good God, you know, you're meant to be some tough tackling central midfielder, and you've ducked out of that header. You're an experienced guy. It's not like Declan Rice at Arsenal all those years ago, where it's a little bit of inexperience that maybe's at play. But the ball was recycled. It's back to Savinio. He puts in a cross. Kufal gets the touch, takes it past Alphonse Areola, 1-0. And you're sitting there thinking, we've had 2 opportunities up to this point, and we're 1-0 down. And the statistic was actually, and this was the really funny thing, that at this point, the statistic was City had 0 shots on target and were 1-0 up. You couldn't make it up. Honestly. But do excuse me if I'm coughing during the course. I've still got a bit of a cough lingering on. So we're 1-0 down. City carved out a couple of opportunities after that. There was a shot that Rico Lewis had. Now, here's the thing, right? People are sort of blowing smoke up Alphonse Areola's arse and saying it was a great save. Have a look at it. It's not that far from him. It's not like he's had to go full stretch. It's in the top corner. I actually think he could shuffle to his right and catch that. I think that was one for the cameras. That's just my opinion. You might think I'm being a little bit overly harsh, but I actually think that save that he made from Rico Lewis, I think he made it look more difficult than it actually was, in truth. Excuse me. Anyway, getting on my high horse. We carry on the second half. The second goal, really disappointing. I mean, Savinio, he had Kufal on toast. Inside, outside, he's left him for dead. Plays in a really good ball, I got to say. I thought it was a really good ball to Haaland. But here's the thing, 2 things. Number 1, Kilman. Now, I did allude to this in the preview. I'm not quite sure that he's maybe all he's cracked up to be. In a defensive sense. Very talented footballer, and he does have his attributes. But I think the red flag for me was the game against Southampton, where he went off with a shoulder problem. And I just said at the time, I can't imagine that a Billy Bonds or an Alvin Martin or a player of that ilk would have gone off with an injured shoulder. They'd have probably still carried on playing with a dislocated shoulder, let alone a bruise or whatever it was. You know, and he just switches off at times. And like I say, that ball that was played in, yes, it was a great cross, but he lost Haaland and Areola. What the hell was he doing? I mean, he was virtually sat down. But yeah, very, very disappointing. 2-0. What was that? Minute 42, I think it was. Minute 42. 3 minutes from the interval. And as I say, we'd actually played well. Now, here's one thing, and I don't know sort of whether you might agree with it, you might not. Now, I think it was at 1-0. Akanji had the ball and got robbed by Crysencio Somerville. Now, Somerville was one of our brighter sparks, I think, of the game yesterday, along with, as I say, Nicholas Fulkrug. But yeah, he robbed Akanji. He's through on goal. And the referee couldn't wait to blow his whistle. Could not wait. And I looked at it afterwards, and I'm still looking at it and going, I don't see that's a foul. And especially these days, if you've got VAR, well, I thought that the referees were told, the officials were told, keep your flag down, don't blow your whistle, let the play out, let the VAR do its job. He couldn't wait to blow up, couldn't wait to stunt our momentum. Now, would Somerville have scored? Who knows? We'll never know. That's the truth. But I do think that he was very, very keen to get the whistle blown and to stop play and give City the advantage there. we're the team that's attacking. Now, I always thought that you give the advantage to the team that's on the attack. We was on the attack. Let the attack play out. If Somerville doesn't score, okay, no harm done. If Somerville scores, you go, okay, right, that's great, but we're going to have a look and we're going to see, was that a foul on a Kanji, and you make a decision based on that. I think that was really poor. But going in at halftime, 0-2, writing was on the wall. We pretty much knew that was, we weren't really going to do too much from that point on. Now, normally at halftime, around about halftime, there's usually a few substitutions. There wasn't actually any at halftime, but there was a substitution fairly soon. I think it was about 7 minutes into the second half. Tadebo came off. I'm led to understand it's an injury problem. I don't exactly know the nature of it at the minute, but there's whispers that he might be out for a little period. Hopefully not, but we'll wait and see. And he's replaced by Mavropanos. Within 2 minutes, it's 3 and the game's over. And again, it's a goal that, if you look at it, it's a really disappointing goal to concede. You just look at it and you go, that was really avoidable if you'd have been switched on, but we weren't. And we're doing it all too often this season, where we're just switching off at crucial moments. As I say, 2 minutes after Mavropanos comes on, City make this move from back to front. Passing, moving with the ball. Ball was played through by Savinio to Haaland, who's making a diagonal run. Kilman loses him, and he basically waits for the goalkeeper to commit himself, and then he just dinks it over him. And it made me laugh. Go back and have a look at it, right? Because in a desperate attempt to get the goal chalked off, as the ball hits the back of the net, Max Kilman turns around, looks at the lino, and he's putting his arm up as if to say it's offside. He's nowhere near offside. Nowhere near offside. And then the fourth goal, which, to be honest, all it did was just give them a little bit of a veneer of respectability more than they already had. They had the points in the bag. Let's not kid ourselves. We're trying to play out from the back. I mean, God's sake, this really winds me up. We're trying to play out from the back against a pressing team like Man City, an excellent pressing team like Man City. I play to your strengths, clear your lines. You're 3-0 down, for Christ's sakes. What are you doing? Why are you trying to play like prime Brazil 1970? You're not, We're trying to play it out. And of course, Kudus plays a loose ball. Edson Alvarez doesn't latch onto it. It goes to Kevin De Bruyne. He offloads it to Phil Foden. As I say, he's been in poor form, but he's now got his tail up because he's just put the ball in past Alphonse Areola to put West Ham 4-0 down at this point. Now, as I say, one of the bright points of the match, like two of the bright points of the match, were Somerville and Füllkrug. Now, Somerville was involved in the move that led to the goal that Füllkrug got. It was a nice bit of play. As I say, this is the really frustrating thing, is that when you look at some of our build-up play, it was actually pretty decent. Somerville was on the left. He offloads the ball to Alvarez. He plays in Souček, plays in Füllkrug. First time shot. Ortega didn't dive for it, but to be honest with you, he was like, yeah, whatever, mate. It's 19 minutes of the game left. You're still 3 goals adrift. You're not coming back from that. And this is the thing that really wound me up, right, is that there's now this perception, even in the media. I was listening to TalkSport. I've just went out to get some dog food at the pet store, and driving back, and they had on TalkSport, it was Max Rushton and Barry Glendenning. And Max Rushton, sort of like, they were talking about the game between City and West Ham. And Max Rushton's words were, well, it was only West Ham. And I'm like, on the one hand, I don't know whether to feel offended, or I don't know whether to just sort of go, yeah, that's pretty much it, really. To be fair, he's probably right. It is only West Ham. We don't offer enough. As I say, we played. This is the stupid thing. We played well. I feel really conflicted. We played well and lost 4-1 against a poor Man City. I don't know where we go from here, guys. I mean, we've got the game against Villa. in the FA Cup on Friday, I think it is. Does Lopetegui survive? I think he probably will. I think simply because there's no one else available, simply because of the finances that are going to be involved in paying off him and his staff, all of that. I'm not entirely convinced that Sullivan will put his hand in his pocket to sort of like get him off down the Kermit. I just don't know. I think we're completely rudderless from top to bottom. I think that the David Sullivan is paralysed by indecision. There's fractures in the boardroom, which means that certain decisions can't be made. We've got a head coach and a director of football that don't see eye to eye. You've got the head coach not seeing eye to eye with players. You've got players that want out. Paqueta, he had a good game yesterday, but again, he's doing it one in every 6, 1 in every 8 games there or thereabouts. That's not good enough. Kudus, I thought he started brightly, but as I say, he looked to me like he was being a little bit overly greedy. And again, it's not lost on me that a lot of these players seem to be playing well against the big teams and are not really doing so well when we're playing the Southamptons and the Bournemouths and the Brightons of this world, the Wolves of this world. They seem to sort of like look a little bit brighter against the Liverpools and the Arsenals and the Man Cities, but the rest of the time it's all a little bit so-so. But Paqueta played well. Somerville played well. Fulkrug played well. There's really not too much to say. The rest of them either pretty much of a muchness or downright poor. We've got the Villa game. I don't know how Lopetegui's gonna view this. Is he gonna view the Villa game as an opportunity for him to maybe sort of like get a little bit of momentum going? You know, it is a route into Europe if we was to win it, or if we got into the final and we was playing against a team that had already got European qualification wrapped up, for example. It is a route into Europe. I know we're playing a team in Villa who have got a big home support, vociferous, under the lights. But you know what? Their form hasn't been great. So I hope he takes the cup seriously. I believe he will be in place for the game against Villa. It'd be great to think that maybe David Sullivan's got a plan and that he's already got a replacement lined up. I have no faith that that is the case. But if he surprises me, then fine, I've got it wrong. All apologies, no problem at all. But we're rudderless at the moment. We have no strategy from top to bottom, from David Sullivan, from Daniel Kretinsky, from Karen Brady to Julian Lopetegui, right the way down. The team looks completely disjointed. The team looks completely like they don't know how to stop this. And even despite the fact we've played the worst Manchester City team, or maybe not team, maybe that's unfair, but certainly the form that they've been in over the last sort of 15 games or so, it's certainly their worst run of form for many, many years. And even in that, guys, the fact that we played arguably one of our better games this season, we still couldn't lay a glove on them. We still got rinsed 4-1. And yeah, I don't really know what to say. And I am starting to be very, very concerned. And I'm going to say this, and I hope I'm wrong. I am starting to get a little bit concerned that people that are saying, and I have been one of them, that we've got too much in us to go down and there will be 3 teams worse than us. And look, Southampton will occupy one of those 3 spaces, so that's fine. So we just need to make sure we're not one of the other 2 teams. Do I have confidence? Do I have absolute confidence that we couldn't go down? No, I don't. And I think that would be absolutely catastrophic. Absolutely catastrophic. You know, you stop and think about, we've got a 62,000 seat stadium that we're, usually getting a good amount of those seats filled. Maybe not with proper fans, as we've discussed before. But if we're playing in the Championship and we're playing teams like Rotherham and whatever, do you honestly think we're selling that out? Because I don't. And I think if we go down, with the London Stadium, you know, and I know people will say, well, we went down before and we came straight back up, but we had Upton Park then. That was a different sort of thing to deal with. This is going to be a 60-odd thousand seater stadium that is probably going to be half full. I don't have faith that if we did get dragged into a relegation dogfight, and God forbid it went wrong, I don't really have an awful lot of optimism that we would come back at the first time of asking. I think we could be in for a bit of a problem. So it's really important for the hierarchy of this club, the leadership of this club, and I'm talking Sullivan, Kretinsky, Brady, Tripsmith, all of them, they need to make a decision. They need to make a decision because the transfer window is open and we don't know who's making the signings. Is it going to be Lopetegui? Well, he might not be here after the Villa game. Is it going to be Stuyton? Well, he's probably going to be off in the summer. So it's probably going to be Sullivan then, isn't it? Let's be completely honest. The signings will be rubber stamped, ratified, approved by David Sullivan. And if they're not approved by David Sullivan, then they won't happen. We're back here again. I don't know. Like I say, we're in a bit of a pickle at the minute, and we need to try and navigate a way out of it. I'm hoping that the Villa game provides us with a bit of a respite, a reset opportunity, but I'm not overly convinced that it will. Anyway, the result was what I expected it to be. I'm not going to kid around. In the review, I said that I turned around and said I thought 3-1, but that was on the basis of Lopetegui picking a team akin to what I would have wanted him to do, and he didn't. And as soon as I saw them team lineups, I changed my opinion and I put 4-0. Now, okay, I wasn't a million miles away. We got a consolation goal, but it was when they were 4-0 up, not, we didn't make it 1-0. So, really disappointing. Not quite sure where we go from here. Hoping that the hierarchy have a moment of clarity and they need to make a decision, and they need to make that decision quick. In my opinion, he might be a very nice guy, Julian Lopetegui. I know he's had the problems with his father. I know we've had various bits and bobs. And, okay, maybe we played quite well yesterday, 17 shots, blah, blah, blah. It's a results-based business. I'm really sorry. And at the minute, he does have a worse win percentage than Avram Grant. Now, okay, Avram Grant had 37 Premier League games plus whatever he had in FA Cups and League Cups and all the rest of it. So maybe you're comparing apples with oranges, but the statistics are that his win percentage is inferior to a manager who is universally regarded as the worst in our history. And I don't know, it may well be that title is about to be taken from Avram Grant and handed to Julian Lopetegui. Well, if that's the case, then I think we cannot afford to hang around. I think that with the best will in the world, I think we need to make a change. Now, who that change is, that's not what I'm employed to do. I don't get paid to make a decision. I could sit here and I could say, oh, get this manager, get this manager, get this manager, whatever. But obviously the club know what the finances are. The club knows who we can afford, who we can't, all the rest of it. So I have to sort of put my faith in the hierarchy, and that is kind of where this falls down, because I don't actually have that much faith in them. I've got to be truthful with you, especially Sullivan. You know, he's proved so many times in the past he got this one wrong. He was the one that put Lopetegui in. You put in Tim Stuyton as a director of football to give the club direction from a footballing perspective. You give him the autonomy to operate, but then you don't give him the autonomy to select the manager, or head coach, and you put him in, and it's the director of football saying, "I don't, this isn't the guy. Oh, he's interviewed well. Don't worry." Well, I hope you're worried now, Mr. Sullivan. I hope you're worried now. I hope you realise the folly of your choices. Your choice to put this guy in the dugout, and he's patently failed. Absolutely failed. There might be mitigating circumstances. The loss of Mickey, the loss of Jared, his family situation. That doesn't matter. This is a results-based business. We are in danger of getting dragged into a relegation dogfight. And here's another thing. Have you heard this? We're looking at signing players like Will Hughes. Will Hughes from Palace. I'm sure again, nothing personal against Will Hughes, but if this is the level of signing we're looking at bringing in, that says it all for me, guys. That really does says it all for me as for where we are as a club. Shocking. Absolutely shocking. But hopefully they make the right decision. Hopefully make it quickly. Because if we don't make it before the Villa game, I don't have any real faith that we're going to go there and do too much. Unless there's some real big shock that's pulled out of the hat. I think that if we get beat by Villa, which I think we're in all likely going to be, okay, we'll probably get the trigger pulled on Lopetegui at that point. But then our season's just a case of staying away from the bottom three. Not really what I signed up for. Not really what everybody thought when we sort of, a year after winning the Conference League final, we then have £155 million spent on the first team playing squad. And for what? To basically tread water and avoid going down the plug hole. I'm pretty sure that's not what we all signed up for. I'm pretty sure that's not what we paid our season ticket, our match tickets, our Sky TV, our TNT, whatever. I don't think we paid any of that to basically be a relegation fighting team. I'm pretty sure we didn't. Anyway, I've had my little rant. I've had my little meander around and whatever. And listen, guys, get your comments in. I hope you have been. Get your comments in the section below. I'll try and respond to as many of them as possible. And remember, if you are new around here and if this is something that you found particularly interesting or whatever, you've got something out of it, appreciate it. Please hit subscribe. Please hit the bell notification. Please also do drop a like on this stream. Thanks for joining us, guys. Please also don't forget to give your support to the Iron Supporting Food Banks charity. We'll see you next time. Come on, you Irons.
Iron Supporting Food Banks collects food and cash donations for needy families in Newham Borough and beyond. Please consider making a donation via their Just Giving page, the link for which you will find in the description section of this stream. Come on, you Irons.
West Ham